You ever feel like you're trying to move forward, but something just keeps pulling you back? And what if that something is actually you? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today, the incredibly frustrating and incredibly common cycle of self-sabotage.
Oh, that question. Why do I keep doing this? It's something we've probably all asked ourselves, right? You try to make a change, you try to break an old habit, but somehow you find yourself right back where you started. It's that feeling of being totally and completely stuck. If that sounds even a little familiar, you are definitely in the right place.
But what if the way we've been looking at this whole problem is completely backwards? We're going to start with the basics, and then we are going to flip this entire idea on its head.
So here's the textbook definition. A pattern of thinking and acting that gets in the way of your own goals. It seems pretty cut and dry, doesn't it? Just this purely negative, destructive habit we need to get rid of. But what if it's not that simple?
And this is where it gets really interesting. Check out this quote from psychotherapist Sharani Pathak. She says, "It's not about self-destruction at all. It's about self-protection." Think about it. Your brain's #1 job is to keep you safe. And to your brain, safe means familiar. Anything new, even a fantastic new job or a healthy relationship, registers as potential danger. So those behaviors we call sabotage, that's just our brain trying to slam on the brakes and pull us back to the safety of what it already knows.
All right, so if this is our brain trying to protect us, what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, you might be surprised at how familiar it all sounds. Yeah, this protection can show up in a million different ways. It can look a lot like procrastination on that big project. Or maybe it's avoiding important responsibilities, picking fights with your partner right when things are getting good, or that little voice in your head that's constantly putting you down. These are all tactics our mind uses to keep us away from the dangers of success, intimacy, or change. Let's make this real. Picture this. You've got the job interview of a lifetime tomorrow. You want this job. But unconsciously, your brain is terrified of the new responsibilities, the pressure, the possibility of failure. So what does it do? It protects you by encouraging you to stay out late. That way, if you don't get the job, you can blame the hangover, not your own potential. See? You get to control the narrative of the failure.
Or how about in relationships? This one's a classic. You say you want a deep, loving connection, but you keep finding yourself with people who just can't give you that. It's not bad luck. It's a pattern. Your brain is trying to protect you from getting hurt again. An unavailable partner feels safer because you never have to get truly vulnerable and risk real heartbreak.
And at work? Oh, it's so common. You're right on the edge of getting that promotion, and all of a sudden, you're silent in meetings. Why? Because that promotion means more eyeballs on you, higher stakes, and a bigger fall if you fail. So staying quiet, that's your brain pulling the emergency brake to keep you in your safe, familiar role.
So clearly these behaviors aren't just random acts of self-destruction. There are deep, powerful reasons behind them, and they almost always lead back to our past. Let's take a look at what's really driving the bus.
When you break it down, you can see where this stuff comes from. A huge chunk of it, about 40%, is rooted in our past experiences, especially tough stuff from when we were kids. Then you've got a big piece that's just a general fear of the unknown, and that's fear of success as much as it is fear of failure. Add in a dose of low self-esteem and whispering that we don't deserve good things, and a deep need for control, and you've got the perfect recipe for self-sabotage.
And this is such a powerful insight from psychologist Maury Joseph. The very thing that's holding you back today probably once saved you. Seriously, think about it. If you grew up in a really chaotic or toxic environment, being quiet and invisible was a brilliant survival strategy. The problem is, your brain doesn't just get the memo that things are different now. That old coping mechanism is still running on autopilot, even when it's no longer helpful.
This also gets into something called cognitive dissonance. It sounds complicated, but it's basically just your brain hating a contradiction. If you consciously want success, but deep down you believe you're not worthy of it, that creates a ton of internal tension. Your brain needs to solve it. And the easiest way? Sabotage the success. Boom, conflict gone. Now your reality matches your negative belief. It's a brutal but weirdly logical system.
Okay, that's a lot of the why. So what on earth do we do about it? How do we stop the cycle? Well, the big secret is you don't fight this protective part of you. You actually learn to work with it. It really boils down to 3 steps. First, you just have to become a curious observer of yourself. No judgment allowed. Second, you ask the big question. What am I really afraid of here? What is this behavior trying to protect me from? And third, Once you've named the fear, you can start creating a new game plan with healthier alternative actions. And here's exactly what that can look like. So, let's say the fear is abandonment, and the old protective impulse is to push your partner away first. The new action is to actually talk to them about that fear, or for the fear of that promotion. Instead of going quiet, the new plan is to confide in a mentor. See the difference? You're not ignoring the fear, you're just choosing a healthier way to respond to it.
And so much of this work happens right between your ears. You have to start catching that negative internal script. So when that voice says, I can't do anything right, you have to consciously step in and replace it. Not with some fake, over-the-top positivity, but with something real, like, I can learn from this and try again. You're literally rewiring your brain's default setting.
And please remember, this is not a quick fix. As Dr. Siraji Wagej points out, it's all about the small steps. The goal isn't to never feel fear again. The goal is to acknowledge the fear and still take one tiny step forward anyway. You have to be kind to yourself through this process. You're unlearning patterns that you might have had for your entire life.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. The next time you feel that urge to get in your own way, just pause and ask this question. What if that part of you that you've been fighting for so long isn't your enemy at all? What if it's just trying in its own clumsy way to keep you safe? Asking that one simple question with compassion can change everything.